Welcome back to Customs by J-Mac. I was just doing some research in the good book to make sure that I was right. A couple of announcements to make before we get to the video tonight. First of all, I have done 10 videos in 10 days back to back. We have officially caught up with the footage. So now it's going to be shoot for a couple of days, edit, post a video. The new schedule will be Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, 7 a.m. So I hope you tune in. Okay, the second announcement, I'm going to tell you why the project was dubbed Slingshot. First of all, about the wreck. Matt doesn't run a sling on the back of his wrecker. He just has a boom, rigging, and a hook. That's all he's got. On the back of mine, I am going to preserve this off of the wrecker bed that I have, and this is called a sling. Okay. Second part, a slingshot refers to the use of a mechanism to project another object through gravitational space with the use of force. Kind of like a wrecker, right? You're hooking to another vehicle or whatever, and you're moving it through space with force. It's a wrecker, plain and simple. Now on to the story. Matt's off-road recovery. Claims largest wrecker in the world. Murphy's diesel. Oh yeah? I've got a bigger wrecker in the world. Not to be outdone by himself, Murphy's diesel comes out with, yes, yet another biggest wrecker in the world. So I was looking in the good book, checking out my research on David versus Goliath. 1 Samuel 17:1. Story, David versus Goliath. But that's not really like just the big wrecker against the small wrecker. It was about a huge, giant YouTube channel against a really small one, the small guy. That's what the story was about. It was David versus Goliath. So there it is in a nutshell. The reason that this wrecker right here has been dubbed Slingshot. You know, like small channel versus a big channel. Boom. Yeah, the light comes on, right? I'm here with my slingshot. Come and get me. No, I'm just kidding. I can't put any of that in there, but it would be fun. Ha ha ha. Oh well. So on to video 10. Hope you enjoy it. You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking that if I was watching this channel, this part of the build is just as all get out. You know what? I'm over it. Let's do something a little more exciting. What do you say? Take the running board off and we can slice the bottom of the cab off over here on the rocker panel. And we can build the rock slider over here. And that rock slider is going to have to do with what I want to do with the cab, which is cool. So let's shift gears. Let's go from patching those holes in the firewall and stuff like that I can't even do the one side until we do whatever I want to do with the cab, because what I'm going to do with the cab has to correlate with how I do the foot area on the passenger side and the firewall and everything over there. There's got to be a certain amount of... I'm going to start by cutting along this body line here just because of the way the doors fit. I can't go up into this one because then the lip of the door would hit it, and I don't want to keep my slider in to where the door overlaps it, because then your door is exposed. I want the rock slider to stick out here 3/4 of an inch to an inch like this, so that those rocks will hit that before they get into the door. I'll get that cut and we'll get it to where that 2x4 piece will fit in here, the 4x2. I don't know why, but metal's backwards of lumber. Did you know that? So if you have a 2" by 4" 2x4, it's a 2x4. If you have a 2" by 4" piece of metal, it's a 4x2. I don't know. Kind of some useless knowledge I'll throw at you. So I'm going to set in here with my chop saw, and I'm just going to cut this round part of the rocker out for now, and then we'll see what's under it. And depending on what's under it, then we'll determine where to go from there. I know that there's going to be a step. I don't want to run the rocker so that it's leaned this way. I want it to where it's like this way. They call them a rock slider, but anytime that you throw an angle under your rig that's kind of sloped from the middle to the outside, they call that a boat side. And it's called a boat side because it looks like the side of a boat. But if you're onto a rock, what it'll do is it just helps your rig slide off of the rock instead of hanging up on the, so it's kind of like a boat going through the water, you know. It's cold enough in the shop here this morning that I can see my breath, man. It reminds me of that movie where they step off of the bus and the one is breathing and there's, you know, vapors coming out of his mouth, and the other guy looks at him and he says, "This Sonko, what are you smoking?" And he says, "I'm not the smoking, I's the breathing." Tell me what movie that is. Anyway, I'll be right back. Okay, I got a masking tape line here that I'll cut right on the top of this. That'll line me up with where I'm going to cut the rocker panel. Okay, that'll do it for this back portion. Let's get you moved up to the front. We'll pull that front fender off and lob off that last little bit there on the front. So hang on a second and I'll get you moved around. Okay, I'll get this front fender ripped off of here. I think we just threw a couple bolts in it. It is holding the ABS brake module, which has to go away, and the fuse panel, but they're not bolted to it. I think they'll just fall away. Looks like your battery's about to die. I got my PPE on, pet peeve of everyone. I was wrong. There are 3 bolts and all my grounds for the engine and the front end here when we were trying to get it to start were hooked to a bolt there. That fender will be a lot lighter when it goes on for its final fit, because I'm going to cut almost all of it off, and the inner wheel well's all going to go away. So let's get this last little bit cut off here. chainsaw stuck in a tree. That is terrible. We'll stop the tree from falling down so it doesn't catch my blade so bad. I don't know if I'm yelling or not, but I have ear protection on so I can't hear myself. So if I am, I'll try and fix it when I edit it. Let me get you a new battery. You're about to die. Okay. I can see again. There for a minute I thought my glaucoma or my cataracts were taking over. It was all fuzzy and I couldn't see for stuff. Okay, I got this all cut free. It looks like these guys could have planted a crop in there. Then people wonder why their vehicles rust out. It's because all your car manufacturers haven't figured out since the beginning of time that if they collect dirt like that when it gets wet, rust your rocker panel out. It's like the opposite of going to a rock concert. Not rocking anymore. Look at that. Hang on. I gotta screenshot this real quick so I have a picture for the thumbnail. There we go. Now I gotta take a couple pictures of my phone, send it to Slim. So we'll be right back and then we'll get this rocker set up in there and see how much we regret doing that.